Children, this is the third part of the video, The Secret Garden. We will start from this paragraph. She put her hands under the leaves and began to pull and push them aside. So after seeing the knob attached to the door, she is trying to pull and push that knob in a hope that the door may open. The ivy hung thickly like a loose and swinging curtain. So ivy plant, the climber plants, they were hanging so thickly, they were so dense that it looks like a swinging curtain. Mary's heart began to thump and her hands began to shake a little in her delight and excitement. So while she was trying to open the door, Mary get delighted and excited, and her heart began to thump. It began to beat a little faster, and her hands was also shaking out of delight, fear, excitement, everything. The robin kept singing and twittering away and tilting his head on one side as if he were as excited as she was. So Robin was also making a different movement. He was twittering, he was tilting his head one side, another side. And it looks like as the Robin was also same excited just like Mary. What was this under her hands, which was square and made of iron? And suddenly she felt something under her hand, which was in the shape of square, and it must be made up of iron. So it was the lock of the door. There was a lock. So under the knob there was a lock which had been closed for 10 years. So she put her hands in her pocket, drew out the key, and found that it fitted the keyhole. And immediately she put her hands inside her pocket where she kept that old key, and she take it out from his pocket and put the key into the hole of the lock, and she found that the key was exactly fitting into the keyhole. So it was quite sure that the key is made for that particular lock only. She put the key in and turned it. It took 2 hands to do it, but it turned. So the lock was so heavy, and she was holding the lock from one hand and she was putting the key inside the hole from another hand. So it took both the hands. She put the key into the keyhole and she turned it, and it opened. And then she took a long breath and looked behind her up the long walk to see if anyone was coming. So, and she took a long breath as she opened the door and looked behind. She turned around and she looked behind just to confirm that is there anyone at her back, or somebody is there looking her, or somebody is coming to her or not. Just she was trying to confirm herself. No one was coming, but no one was there behind her. No one ever did come, it seemed. And she also understood that nobody has tried to come to this particular place of the garden. And she took another long breath and held back the swinging curtain of ivy and pushed back the door, which opened slowly. Again she holds some of the ivy branches from one hand and she pushed the door, and suddenly the door opened. Then she slipped through it and shut it behind her. Slipped through it means she entered into the garden. After getting inside, she shut the door behind her and stood with her back against it. Back against it means she was standing in a way that the door was behind her, looking about her and breathing quite fast with excitement and wonder and delight. So all these feelings are happening inside him, as she was successful to enter into the secret garden, the story which she was listening from many people from many days. Now she was standing inside the secret garden. Now she is inside the secret garden. It was the sweetest, most mysterious looking place anyone could imagine. So this is the sweetest as well as mysterious place, means magical type of a place. Mystery was there. Something unimaginable things were there. The high walls which shut it in were covered with the stems of climbing roses which were so thick that they were matted together. So the wall was covered with leaves, as you can see in the picture. There were rose plants, and the roses were blooming in such a way, and they were so thick. The roses were so thick and heavy that it made the ground just like carpet, just like mat, beautiful carpet. Mary knew they were roses because she had seen a great many roses in India. Mary was quite sure that the flowers that covered the ground of the secret garden and made it a beautiful carpet, it was rose, because she had seen many different kind of roses in India. Now, rose bushes covered the entire garden. Indeed, it was different from any other place she had ever seen in her life. So obviously the garden inside the wall was completely different from the outside world. It is unimaginable place that Mary could ever think or imagine or ever seen in her life. The last part we will learn in our next video. Thank you.